Creating your own products to sell on Amazon KDP doesn't have to be complicated or require expensive design tools. In fact, with just PowerPoint, yes, the same tool you use for creating presentations, you can design a professional looking daily meal planner that people will love to use. It's a simple, no fuss way to get started with KDP. And today, I'm going to walk you through every step to create one that's both functional and stylish. Hey there, I'm Samantha. Welcome to my channel. If you're looking to start selling on KDP and want to create something practical and in demand, meal planners are a great choice. They're helpful, they're always in demand, and they really don't require the design skills of a professional. And the best part is you can create them with PowerPoint, a tool you already have, and it's so much easier than you might think. All right, let's head over to PowerPoint and start designing. First things first, you need to set the right dimensions for your planner. To do this, go to Design, Slide Size, and Page Setup. Now, as you can see, I have some specifications on my slide. This is what I'm going to use to create my daily meal planner. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the slide size 4 to custom, and I'm going to start plugging in my dimensions. So originally the trim size is going to be 6.69 by 9.61 inches. This is what I've personally chosen to create my meal planner with. You can go a little lower. I do believe standard size for meal planners might be around 6 by 9 inches, but I've decided to make mine just a tinge bigger. So my original trim size is 6.69, but since I'm going to be using bleed, I'm going to add some more to that trim size to allot for items running across the edge. No, I'm not so sure what I'll be adding on page to run across the bleed, but I'm just doing this as a contingency plan. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my width, which is 6.815 inches by 9.86 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK and scale up. So let me reduce the size of this so I can see properly. Yep. So the next thing is to go ahead and create your guides or the margins. Now, when you open PowerPoint, if you're not seeing your guides or grid lines, simply go to View and tick these options to bring them on screen. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to differentiate my gutter, my top margin, my bottom margin, and the outside right margin. To do this, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to grid and guidelines and I'm going to go to grid options. And this is so that I can control my lines a bit. I'm going to set each to a half of an inch or 0.50. And as you can see, the dots are on the screen and they're going to be my guide for today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my first margin, my gutter. So this is 0.50. So this is going to be an inch, and that is my gutter. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same for the top, which is going to be right there. And I'm just going to create another horizontal line for my bottom margin. And that is going to be either 0.25 or 0.50. I'm just going to leave that at 50. If you wanted, for example, to create 0.25, you would simply go back to grid options and just use this as a guide. I really appreciate using the lines because they help me a lot. So this would be the 0.25 if you were going that route. Let's go back and make those changes. I like having it at a half. All right, so I have my top margin, my gutter, my bottom margin, and now I'm going to create another vertical guide so that I can add my right outer margin. And I'm just going to set that right there. So I'm going to remove this since I'm done. And this is what my layout would look like typically. Oops. Let's keep the guides. This is what my book's interior would look like. So now that I have everything layout, let's actually start with designing that planner. I'm really excited about this part. For this, I like to keep things simple and clean. So what I'm going to do is to go back and reactivate my grid lines because of course the layout is not complete as yet. We still have lines to add, we have text and all that amazing stuff. So I'm just going to go back and reactivate my grid lines. The next thing I'm going to do is to start by adding text. No, I usually get my fonts from Creative Fabrica. I also use some images from there as well, and I also incorporate Canva at times since I do have a subscription. But if you're thinking about using meal planners, sorry, if you're thinking about using images or objects in your daily meal planner, you can access free resources like Pixabay and Pexels. I do believe that's the name. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to insert a text box and I am just going to start designing. So this is just going to be the main heading, daily meal planner. And this is optional. Now, typically I like to ensure that this font is a bit fancy. So I'm just going to ensure that the font of choice is applied here. And I do have quite a number of options that I'm going to try before settling. I'm actually going to speed up the process of selecting a font. So bear with me, please. All right, I think I am going to settle with this font. And I might also take this down a notch as well. So instead of 50, it's going to be 0.75. So this is that, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start listing out what I'm going to be creating on screen. So this is going to have a time slot and this is going to be undated. I'm going to choose another font for this. Oops, this should be date. My apologies. So this is going to be undated. For now, I'm just going to use this font because I want something that works with lower caps as well. Let's remove grid and guidelines, snap to grid, trying to accomplish something. I'm going to change the grids to quarter. And guys, I'm just going to speed up this section so I can quickly get this done. All right, so this is where I am at the moment, and what I'm going to do is just to remove my guides and grid lines, just so you have an understanding of what this is looking like. I'm not done as yet, and I will likely need to go back and make some more changes to it, but I'm just fleshing everything out at the moment, so bear with me. I am going to speed up again. Alrighty, so let's have a look at what I've created so far. All right, let's zoom out, and this is what I have. I have the title, Daily Meal Planner, the date, breakfast. I have the time, the calories, meal description, ingredients. I also have something of a water tracker of sorts. So once persons use this meal planner, they're able to also stay abreast with their water intake. The lunch is the same, and dinner is also the same. There are some other things you could add to this template. This is just if you want to spruce things up a notch. So you could add maybe something of like daily goals where you're adding calorie target, protein target, carbs target, fat, and fiber target. That's just an idea. But typically, when I'm creating meal planners, especially if it's a weekly meal planner, I usually have an entire section for notes and also for a grocery list of sorts. But this is more of a daily planner, so I'm not going to go crazy with it, especially since I already have a description of what the meal is going to be and also the ingredient list. So I'm not going to add anything more to this. But as I've mentioned, if you want to jazz things up, you could add your own notes. You could create a template for notes. You could also create a template for daily goals. This all depends on your audience. So this is what it looks like. So that's that. If you have better fonts than I do, I think it would really look a lot better. But I suck at creating fonts. I literally struggle. because there are just so many options, and it's just hard for me to really find something that suits me because I am frankly very picky. So remember when I said I was going to add bleed as a contingency? I did download some borders from Creative Fabrica, so I'm just going to explore how I can best use those borders. So I'm going to grab them. These are some wildflowers. I also had food borders. So let's add these to my manuscript. Let's go back. Alrighty, so many options here. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm just sizing these down so that I can determine which I'm going to use. I think this one looks good. I'm going to stick with this one, and I'm just going to get rid of everything else. So let's size this down some more. Could do something like this. And I could also change this to a grayscale simply because we are not doing anything off color over here. I think the grayscale. See what this looks like. So this is what it would look like if I'm supposed to leave that as is. But let's try something else. I also have some flowers. Let's see how those flowers look. So I have two different designs, and as you can see on the left, this is what they would look like. So I'm going to leave this as is. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to share with you how you can transfer or how you can export these in a format that KDP would approve. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to export, and I'm going to export this as a PDF. I'm on Mac, so the settings might look a bit different for you if you're on Windows. I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to search for my file. This is it, and I'm going to preview it. And this is what my interior looks like. These are two different options, and let's say, for example, you want to lessen the brightness or the strength of this. Oops, my apologies. You could right click, format graphic, and you could make it a bit more transparent. That's to 70%. And I'm going to do the same for this one, 70%. And I think I like when it's transparent. So this is what it would look like, as you can see on the left. There you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If this video made a difference for you and you have a better understanding of how you can use Microsoft PowerPoint to create KDP interiors, such as a daily meal planner, please don't forget to share this video, subscribe, comment if you have something to say, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.